Hey everyone, before we go into the weekend here, I just wanted to wrap up the week with a quick video about relationships. And the most important thing I think about relationships is simply the fact that if you need to be in one, you shouldn't be. And the reason being is that if you need to be in a relationship, you need that because you're looking for validation, you're looking for some reprieve from being alone, you're looking for some kind of a satisfaction in that relationship and in that person. And that has a number of consequences. Mostly the consequence that it has is that it makes you not genuine. You're no longer being yourself. You're never going to say things that you know are going to be disapproved of. You're never going to be completely honest in case it costs you the relationship. And so you have that fear all the time, and you adapt who you are in the hopes of keeping that relationship going and keeping this other person happy so they can continue to satisfy your needs. Now, that game's going to happen for a very short period of time. Some people manage to stretch it out for years, and then they find themselves resenting the person that they're with because they either feel that they're responsible for their happiness all the time, which is a terrible place to be, or they feel that, the person they're with is not the person who they started the relationship with. And that makes sense because if you're not being genuine, that can't last forever. Eventually, you're going to show your true colors. And that's usually when people start to get disillusioned. So the whole point that I'm trying to make here is that a relationship has to be rooted in yourself. And what I mean is that you need to be yourself. You need to be good with just being alone. All of your needs have to be satisfied in you. And when they are, then you can go into a relationship, and again, this is either romantic or friends or otherwise, and you won't be pulling at these people's attention. You won't be trying to find some satisfaction for yourself, some validation. Your conversations will be different. You'll have more interest. You'll be more enthusiastic. On top of that, if you get into a relationship based on need, you're immediately going to be subject to fear. You're going to translate that as, I'm not sure if I can trust this person. And the problem really isn't whether or not you can trust this person. It's the fear of them leaving. It's the fear that you have no control over whether or not they will cheat on you or whether or not they will leave you. And so you try to wrap that in trust, which is really just expectation. I expect that you won't act this way. And that's a sense of control. But if you let that go, then what you find is that being in a relationship is a risk. It's supposed to be a risk. I mean, you get into a new relationship with somebody, you have the honeymoon period where you're both, matching one another's ideal of what the perfect partner is going to be. And then over time, you start to see, okay, well, I didn't see that before, but I don't necessarily agree with that person's point of view here. Or I don't know if I would have responded that way, or if I even like them responding that way. And if you're honest with yourself, then you will talk about that up front. You won't hide it away for the fear of losing that person, because if you do, those problems aren't going to just disappear. And if you're not both mutually learning and changing all the time, then your relationship is going to stagnate, and you're going to end up in a position where you're looking at what you've been doing for the last year, 5 years, 10 years, and wondering where it's all going. So in that relationship, it's important that you trust in your ability to move on, even if it doesn't work out. If it doesn't work out, if the relationship goes south, your friends wander out of your life, or the boyfriend or girlfriend that you're with suddenly you just can't be with them anymore, it's so much better to be honest about that, because then you're saving yourself hurt in the long run. I mean, there's nothing worse than being in a relationship for years on end, settling for it simply because you're afraid that you wouldn't be able to live without that person, or worse, you're afraid you wouldn't be able to find someone else. And so you settle. Don't settle. Be yourself. Be happy. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with your partner. And if they don't like who you are, well, then at least you get that out of the way. And this is true in every relationship, but it starts with you. You need to address your own need. You need to address your own self-image and your own perceptions of what you lack, and stop looking for it in other people. And when you do that, you become the kind of person who can have a good relationship. I often look at it this way. Who do you respect more? The person who needs you to respect them, or the person who doesn't need you to respect them because they respect themselves? And that's exactly the mentality you have to go into in a relationship. Don't need the relationship, because then you're not going to be a full participant. You're always going to be dragging others back to satisfy you. Whereas if you don't need that relationship, everything you do is going to have your full attention in it, which is going to make you a better friend, a better partner, and a happier person as a whole. That's my thought on relationships. Have a good weekend, guys, and thanks for watching. Take care.